But my question today is about the beautiful meditation. And they've all been exquisite every day this week. We were talking about them at dinner. They're like I don't want to objectify them, but they're like a symphony in themselves. And then we got the symphony. It was absolutely sublime today. But I did experience today, there was a line that you said, which was, sorrow doesn't know the now, or the now doesn't know sorrow. And previously, I've been able to sort of see my emotions come and go and realize that they are not me, not my true self. But then today, when the now doesn't know sorrow, I felt huge sorrow. But it wasn't arising on behalf of a separate self. It was a sorrow that I feel like I've carried though my whole life in relation to, and I've always felt it in the depth of my being, and it's to do with loss, trauma, loss of children in my family. And the sorrow arose, and I recognized it as I do. It feels like a companion, but it wasn't arising on behalf of a separate self. It was just overflowing through the meditation. But my mind was trying to sort of say, the now for you sometimes does know sorrow. It's not, there's no resistance to it. There's no pushing away or rejection of it, but it felt like I do feel like in being, for me, it felt like there's sorrow.
Yeah, okay. Okay, two things, Carrie. So, referring only to your current experience. So, try to imagine that you don't have a past and that you don't have a future. Just imagine that they don't exist. And so, in other words, that brings you to what I referred to this morning as the now, the ever-present now. So, without referring to the past or future, tell us about your experience now. Or let me ask you a more direct question. Without reference to the past or future, is there any sorrow in you now?
I can barely separate it out.
Try to.
I can detect that the being is not bothered by the sorrow, but I can't detect that the sorrow is not there. If you know what I mean. It rises up. I'm not attaching. I can be from the place of being and...
Okay, let's try again. You're a newborn infant.
Yeah.
You've just been born. It's the first experience you've ever had. You do not have a past. The past is non-existent. The future is, the newborn being knows nothing of a past or a future. It only knows its current experience. Is there any sorrow in you?
No.
There's no sorrow in the now.
And I can see that because I've been able to apply that to all my other emotions. Can I just, it's that distinction between the now of being and the now of present moment and content. And sometimes when the now or the present moment is intolerable, I'm not referring to the past or the future, but there might be a moment where, say, for example, you're experiencing in that moment the loss of, say, anything that you love, say a child that you love. You cannot not feel, even though I know the being is pristine and imperturbable, it feels like it's so stuck as well with sorrow. It feels like I can't separate the two, and that's where I think I keep having problems with ridding myself of this deep sadness. It feels like it's stuck to me.
Yeah. Okay, so this goes on to the second thing that I wanted to say. which acknowledges sorrow. It acknowledges the past, as you say, the sorrow you feel on behalf of your family and children that have passed away. And you're right, this sorrow is, it's not a sorrow that is arising in you on behalf of the felt sense of separation. You're feeling a kind of existential sorrow, that you're feeling humanity's sorrow as your own. That's compassion. It's not sorrow. You're feeling compassion. You're feeling the everybody's sorrow as your own. So that sorrow comes from sensitivity. It's not as a result of the overlooking of your own being. It's on the contrary. It's a result of you're relatively free of your own feelings, and that enables you to feel other people's sorrow, the existential sorrow of humanity.
Wow. Okay. Because it doesn't feel dissimilar to love. It doesn't feel that dissimilar. The flip side of it felt like love.
Could you feel another person's suffering if you did not love them?
No.
No. So this empathy with another person's suffering, which you feel as your own suffering, you're absolutely right, it's love.
Wow. I instantly feel freed by that, because I think I've been attaching in the past a story to it, seen therapists.
Yes.
I'm full of sorrow, sadness, and thinking it's in me.
It's like a kind of divine sadness. It's not a sadness that arises on behalf of the separate self. And as you say, it's pervaded by love.
Yeah, I can feel that overwhelmingly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really, really helpful. Thank you. That's very liberating. Thank you.